Welcome everyone to a short unboxing this time around. I'm not going to go through every single card in this pack. This is the mission pack Open War for Warhammer 40,000. So in this pack, it's only a tiny little pack, you'll see that you have 9 objective cards, 12 deployment cards, 18 twist cards, 6 sudden death cards, and 6 rouge cards. You don't hear that word very often, do you? And 1 folded reference card. Okay, so it says you will need a copy of Warhammer 40,000 core rulebook to use the contents of this set. Funny enough, I thought so somehow. So with this, apparently there's 60,000 combinations. Not likely to play that many games, especially during lockdown. So the idea of this pack is you're supposed to unlikely never have the same mission twice. I should have washed my hands before doing this unboxing. See painter's thumb there, very nice. So it will tell you in the introduction what this is all about. So you get this little folded out piece of cardboard. Open War. Open War is a mission generator that uses decks of cards to determine your game of Warhammer 40K. So this particular order, you sort out your armies, check. You sort out the battlefield. Create the battlefield if both players have smaller armies equal or less than 50 power or 1000 points. Minimize the battlefield. And it tells you about the battlefield. 2000 points as well. Then set up the terrain features. So you'll do it that way around first. Then you use the Open War cards. So one player draws one of the objective mission cards, as per always, like in the Maelstrom missions. Then you have one player draws the deployment. And then what I would personally do would be roll off. The highest player goes first, so picks the objective. That's just me personally. Then the other person does deployment. Then the other person does twist. Then the other person does ruse. If that's the way you want to do it, or you can just be gentleman about it and just pick. It's fine. So yeah, the deployment is what it is. It will show you on the card whereabouts you need to mark off the table. Then you have the twist. So you don't have to pull a twist card, but I think they're quite fun. Makes every mission slightly different. So you used to get the old night fighting and things like that. I think it's pretty cool. Adds a little something to it. Makes it more narrative, I think. Makes it more realistic. So sometimes it could hinder someone's shooting. So if you both range armies, fairly even peggins. But if one's like Tau and one's like World Eaters, you know, it's going to hinder one probably more than the other. So then you have the ruse, which is if players use power rating or points values to muster their armies, they compare the total units in their army. If one player has a total greater than their opponent, draw one card from the ruse deck and keep the card secret. Okay, that's interesting. So if you are if both players use power rating or points values to muster armies, okay, so then it's done to they compare the total for all the units in the army. Okay, that's interesting. Cool. This card, its details, is a cunning ploy that player can use during the battle. Interesting. That's pretty cool. So, like I said, it's quite narrative-y, it's quite fluffy. It could be like, if you get down to half the number of your models, you know, instantly win the game, or if you kill someone's warlord, you instantly win the game. So it means there's a bit of like a side mission going on, you know, and you might be trying to achieve that rather than getting the actual objectives possibly. And then it has sudden death. Okay. So sudden death. If the players use power rating or points values to muster their armies, they compare the total for all the units in their army. If one player has a total that is double or more, their opponent draws one card from the sudden death deck and keeps the card secret. Okay, that's quite specific. So, yeah, sudden death really does mean sudden death. It just ends the game. This card outlines an additional victory condition available to that player. Supersedes all other victory conditions. So if that victory is met, it is just game over. It doesn't matter if your opponent's winning 20 points up. You just win. Which is great. It goes on about objective markers, specific ones for that mission. And then the players roll off and the winner determines who is the attacker and who's the defender, which we all know about, surely. Okay, first turn. That has changed recently. There's been an FAQ. First turn now is whoever wins the dice roll off has to go first. So we know they stopped using seize the initiative in this edition, but recently they have changed that. So the players roll off, the winner declares whether they will take the first or second turn. Now that's changed now because the latest FAQ. So that was a week ago, I think. Battle length, otherwise specified, the battle automatically ends after turn 5, and victory conditions, well, that's on the card. Right, we'll get to the rest of the deck. You have the objective cards, you have the deployment type, the twist, and the rules. So, as per usual, you will pull an objective card, so you know what specific mission you're playing. Now, in the chapter approved book, or the core rule book for Warhammer 40K, normally you have your objective comes with its deployment type. But with this, it's randomized. So you never know what deployment you're going to get with what mission. It used to be like that in 8th edition. I kind of miss that. But then again, we have enough missions, I think, unless you're playing a game or two every week. If you're one of those lucky people that play with your family or play with someone in your bubble, because at the moment we're on lockdown. I mean, this COVID thing's only going to last about another day or two, right? Sure. And I'm sure we'll get back to our normal routines, our normal clubs, go over our mates' places. So what have we got? We've got like 6 basic missions if you're playing 2,000 points. If you're got the chapter approved books, I think there's another 6 in there. Something like that. There's not massive amount of missions out there, but how many times are you going to roll randomly and get the same mission? Not very often. I mean, you're not really going to get bored of the missions, but I thought I'd pick this pack up because I thought it was ace. It's just completely random. And I miss the Maelstrom game. You know, the Maelstrom of War in 8th edition I thought was fun. It was random as hell, and you can blame it on the cards if you do really badly. But I kind of miss it. I mean, we used to play a lot on this channel before 9th edition came in. I'm not sure if there's going to be a Maelstrom of War or not. We're still in Eternal War at the moment. But I do like the fact that you don't know what deployment you're going to get with what mission. That's pretty cool. Now the twists, you don't have to play the twists. But if you do, funny enough, it gives a twist to the game. So this one here, randomly picked, subtract 1 from the move characteristics of all models. Subtract 1 from advance and charge rolls. That's pretty cool. If you've got a really slow army like Death Guard, that's going to bite you in the butt. Imagine those Plague Marines slowly trudging across the table. Well, this Gales card Intense winds gust across the battlefield, hampering all attempts at haste. So yeah, imagine that. Imagine you're just plodding along as slow as you are, and then you've got this card on your mission you're playing with your mate. And it's -1 to your movement again. How cool is that? So, you never know what you're going to get. I'll pick another twist at random. Blinding Sun. At the start of the first battle round, one player randomly selects one battlefield edge to determine the sun's battlefield edge. So I'd imagine it's kind of like World War II, 100 attacks from the sun kind of style. At the start of the third battle round, one player randomly selects one battlefield edge adjacent to the sun's battlefield edge. There's now the sun's battlefield edge, okay. Subtract 1 from hit rolls for range attacks that target units that are closer to the sun's battlefield edge than the firing model. Yep. It's used to use that technique in like dogfighting, things like that. Still use it this day. Planes that try to put the sun behind them, so it's harder to be shot at, etc. Yeah, that's pretty cool. It's not bad. So the deployments are quite random. I'll go through all of the deployments because that's quite a quick list. So yeah, that's pretty neat. It's going to be great for close combat armies. Same with that one there. That one there, it's just asking for trouble really, isn't it? How hard is that to measure out? Or how irritating even. That one I've seen before, a few older editions. Same with that one, and a couple White Dwarf magazines. The old classic, Dawn of War. We see that one quite a bit. We've seen that one quite a bit. And that one. We get those in the core rulebook. And that one in there, I believe. But that one there is a bit different, isn't it? I'm not sure why you would pick that one, so I'm glad it's randomly generated. It's a little bit awkward. But hey ho, mixes up the game a little bit. Because if this was real, if 40K was real, you wouldn't necessarily line up every time in a straight line right opposite your opponent, would you? But objectives. So we have the prize. Place an objective marker in the center of the battlefield. An infantry model can pick up the prize by ending any kind of move on the objective marker. Remove that objective marker from the battlefield. The model is now carrying the prize. The model can drop the prize at any time. Must drop if it's destroyed. If it's dropped by a player model, then the opponent places an objective marker within 1 inch of the model that dropped it. That's pretty cool. So your opponent gets to pick roughly where it is, because you would always pick, obviously, if it was you, somewhere that would help you out. The player whose model is carrying the prize at the end of the 5th battle round is the winner. Otherwise, the player controlling the objective marker at the end of the 5th battle round is the winner. Failing that, the battle is a draw. Okay, taking hold. We've seen a take of hold before. We've seen a domination before. Secure and search and secure. Storm the lines. It's one I haven't heard of before. After determining deployment zones, starting with the defender, each player alternates placing objective markers until 6 have been set up. Each objective marker must be within the deployment zone of the player placing it. Ooh, that's pretty good. More than 6 inches away from any battlefield edge and 9 inches away from any other objective. That's the usual thing. At the end of each of their turns, each player scores 1 victory point for each objective marker with their own battle zone that they control, and 2 victory points for each objective in their opponents. That's pretty cool. That's pretty cool. Fairly clear. Great if you're a melee army and you want to charge in and get in the back line. That's pretty nice. Standoff was one I had in my hand a minute ago. Place 1 objective marker in the center of the battlefield. After the determining deployment zones, starting with the defender, each player places 1 objective marker within their deployment zone, more than 6 inches away from the battlefield edge. At the end of each battle round, each player scores 1 victory point if they control the objective marker within their own deployment zone. 2 victory points if they control the objective marker in the centre of the battlefield, and 3 if it's in your opponent's deployment zone. That's pretty cool. That is pretty cool. So I do like the way the objectives and the missions are going in this edition, don't get me wrong, but I didn't want to play the same mission again and again and again and again. So we've gone through the twists, but what I like is the ruse. The ruse, right, we have outflank here. During deployment, up to 3 units from your army can be set up in an outflank instead of placing them on the battlefield. Starting with the second battle round, each unit can arrive in the reinforcement step of your movement phase. Set their unit up wholly within 6 inches of the battlefield edge and 9 inches away from enemy models. That's pretty cool. We have sudden death cards as well, which is pretty nice. Should we go for another ruse? Tactical reserves. So in tactical reserves, once per battle you can set up 1 unit from your army that has been destroyed and return it to the battle. Ooh. During the reinforcement step of your movement phase, set that unit wholly within your deployment zone, wholly within 6 inches of the edge of the battlefield and 9 inches away from enemy models. That's pretty nice. Sudden death cards. Yeah, that sounds lovely, doesn't it? I mean, what could possibly go wrong with something that's titled Sudden Death? Blunt. Dealing significant damage to a complacent foe could be enough to stall their offense before it begins. If the total in power rating or points values of enemy units destroyed is half or more of the enemy's starting total, the battle ends immediately and you are the winner. That really is sudden death. Vendetta. Slaying a bitter rival and powerful warlord will strike a critical blow upon enemy's morale. If the enemy warlord is destroyed as a result of an enemy attack made by your warlord, the battle ends immediately and you are the winner. Yeah, that's pretty good. That's pretty good fluff-wise as well. Also, one little side note. I do like the back of the cards as well. So you can see the background there is the inside of the cover of the latest 40k book. But like the different symbols, so you know which one you're picking, be it mission or the twists, deployment. So yeah, decent cards as per always, nice and thick and very durable. Okay, so there you have it. It's something a bit different. I mean, you don't need it for your game of 40k. There's plenty of rules and missions in the core book, or even chapter approved. Chapter approved's got some brilliant missions in it. I have used it in a tournament between lockdowns. Yeah, and I thoroughly enjoyed it. There's a few little extras in it as well that changes a few of the missions or secondary objectives as well. But no, that's a very good book to pick up. I thoroughly enjoy that. But you know, you don't have to have them. Like, you don't have to have this pack. I just think this pack adds a little something to it. It's quite fun if you like to play narrative as well, so it gives it a little bit of a story feel to it. But like I said, it's not needed specifically for the game of 40k. It's just a bit of fun. So yeah, usual things apply. It's good card stock. It's a good solid box. You know, it's not cheapy, it's not thin, so you can open it many times and you're not going to damage the back of it. I think it's great. I think it's pretty easy to read. It just adds a bit of fun. It's not expensive. I think I picked this pack up for about £10. Like I said, it's not essential, but it is just good fun, especially the twists and things like that. Basically, the reason I picked it up is I've been playing Warcry a lot recently at a local club when it was open, and I do like the twists in that, and I thought, yeah, I do remember there's an open war pack that gives that element to 40k, and I like it. I like the fact that you might have -1 to hit at range, or models might be slowed down, things like that. It really not messes up your game, but it really puts a different spin on things. If you remember the rules. If you're like me, halfway through, you're like, oh yeah, I forgot to do that additional thing. But hopefully you have a good opponent to keep you on your toes. Thank you very much for watching, guys. Just a bit of fun. Hope you liked the video. Please hit that like button. And please subscribe if you haven't done already. Thank you very much for watching.